Hi guys! Aelin, are you high-fiving the camera with your phone? We are clearly very excited to discuss the end of this book. I said with no sarcasm in my voice whatsoever, just in case anyone's confused. This book was amazing. Amazing, right? Do we all agree it was amazing?
Yes.
Amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe like the first 3 chapters were a little hard to get into, but overall,
Perception.
yeah, I think I've said to both of you that this book I anticipated being like a 3 on my list, which is pretty much as low as I rate books because I'm lucky and I only read good literature. But it was I gave it a 5. It's like, oh my goodness, Kale, how'd you do it?
Same. He's come a long way. I was very
Such a
excited
long
for
way.
his journey. Even though we were all joking about it, like dreading
Yeah.
just reading his book. But
Well,
no, it was
I
I honestly think it's perfect.
yeah. Um, since we just jumped into it because we're all too excited, I want to reiterate that we're going to discuss the end of the book. We ended at the most cliffhangery of chapters, totally not even meaning to. We ended with chapter 38 in the last section. So this is 39 and onward. Except I'm pretty sure that any of you that are reading along with us immediately read chapter 39 because stopping after 38 was the worst idea we ever came up with, even though we didn't know the ramifications.
No, we didn't. I broke down the sections blindly, and I
Right.
just did it based on page count. Um, and yeah,
Wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't supposed to
39
be.
not even a Sartak and Nesrin chapter though? Didn't it go back to Kale?
No, 38, our last episode ended with Kale and Irene having their fight while Irene was trying to get him to stand. And Kale said some pretty mean things to her. And she got sad and started walking away. And then
And
he
then he
got
took
up
a
out of
step.
his chair and stepped toward her. And then we couldn't keep reading, and it was the worst.
Didn't we also end where like Sartak was possibly dead? Like
Yes.
wasn't that
Well,
a cliffhanger we also had?
In this section, yeah.
I think before this they were fine. I'm just trying to remember. Yeah, Nesrin and Sartak were fine before this. They get real. Their situation becomes real dicey in this section, which we will discuss at length. But
If that wasn't a section break, was there like a cliffhanger where I didn't know, like where we didn't?
oh, I think it's because when we were discussing it, there was a while where like I hadn't caught up, and then you guys were.
Yeah, I think
You,
the original breakdown was because this is where we joked. We were like, "Oh, this is Chaos book. Let's just try to get it done as soon as possible. So we'll break it down based in two parts because there is a part 1 and a part 2. So however part 1 ended, that was going to be like the original breakdown. And then just to
yeah,
remind everyone, we decided to move ahead with Tower of Dawn and then save Empire of Storms afterwards. And skip the epilogue in Tower of Dawn.
yeah. We all skipped the epilogue at the end of Tower of Dawn, right, Elena? Right, Elena?
It's like the page flipped and I saw the first sentence. I wouldn't recommend it.
Elena, aren't you reading on an ebook? And do you have it in like continuous scrolling, or do you have like it flips a page?
Like you flip the page like a book.
I'm just saying. And like I did do this after Elena told me about her her accidental mishap with the first few sentences of the epilogue because I don't ebook. I read the paper, but I had my fiance do this for me.
I love that.
And I need to remember to take these out of the book before I give it back to the library. Otherwise, someone's going to be very confused.
You could just leave it in and then write on the.
Leave it in.
Make sure
Make
you've read
sure you
Empire of Storms.
You know what? That's actually not a bad idea. I might just write on the Post-it notes, like, only remove if you've read Empire of Storms. Yeah. So Jamie and I, so we're all now in a very different situation where I try to avoid spoilers. I avoid spoilers as best as I can and have not been spoiled at all. I did not read any of the epilogue. I have not read Empire of Storms. Jamie, however, has already read all of Empire of Storms. Elena has not read Empire of Storms, but accidentally fell down on part of the epilogue.
So she kind of knows what happens at the end of Empire.
Oh,
I got the vibe. I got the idea.
But yes, like I said, I was so surprised by how much I loved this book. I am still glad that we put it before Empire of Storms because I still don't know if I could have brought myself to read this after getting through Empire of Storms and like knowing there's only one more part of the plot and then like taking a step back to go through Chaol. But like this book was amazing. Like absolutely loved it. Highly recommend.
A part
Don't
of
skip
me
it.
was a little worried that, what if I did make the wrong choice and had you guys start with Tower of Dawn? Because, like, we don't always share the same feelings. So, well, I guess we'll see once we read Empire of Storms. But I'm really glad that we read Tower. It was just like a surprise, delightful, new characters and environment, and um, now we all love Kale again. That's
Oh my God.
exciting.
I never thought I would like Chaol this much. Like, he's not like my favorite male lead still, but like I love him. Like, I cannot wait to see more of him. And I never thought that I would get to the end of this book and be like dreading is too hard, but like really mourning that now I have to read a whole book where these guys aren't in it. And I'm excited to get back to Aelin and everybody, but I'm like, oh man, what do you mean we have to leave them now?
I think it's
Things are just
good
happening.
that it ended like on a happy note. Like that they're headed towards Aelin to help, and that everyone's coming with them. Like I feel like it was a very uplifting ending, which makes not like reading the next book without them in it a little bit easier.
Yeah, everybody's in a really good spot. Like there's no like huge cliffhanger. And it is like they've got like a really hard journey ahead of them in starting this big war, but it is really like uplifting to see everybody coming with them and joining in on the fight. So great.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting reading Empire of Storms and seeing how different it is, like reading it, knowing that this huge army is coming to help. But because I feel like if like they probably don't realize Kale and friends are on their way. So like depending on that book, like it seems like they've been winning battles without them, but I don't know. It feels like it would be a big moment if you had read Empire of Storms to be like, they're on their way out.
Well, and I think that's one of the coolest things, like from reading this first and then going to Empire of Storms again. And like we've talked about this throughout, is like we keep getting these stories of what Aelin and like her group are doing on the continent, and we have to wonder, are we getting the correct story? Like, is this what's actually happening? Is it just a version of it? And I think the last thing that we hear about Aelin and co is that there's this big fight between Aelin and Maeve that Hassar tells Chaol and Irene about. And I guess from what she's heard, Aelin beats Maeve and is now going back north to Terrasen with forces from Wendelin and the Red Desert. So it seems like they're in good, like they're set up pretty well to fight this pretty unbeatable force. At least like I feel like they've got a lot stacked against them from what we've learned at the end of this book.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things went down, at least because like we're getting all of this information about Aelin from Hassar and her spies, or their spies, because I think it's not just Hassar, but and then also seeing like what you guys thought about it too. Reading Tower of Dawn and then seeing it actually happen in Empire Storm. So I'm very excited to see what you guys think.
I'm so pumped to really get into Empire of Storms and see like how everything is happening over there. And I know like because I think we got basically like three timeline points of what's going on the other side of the world. And it's like that's not the whole book. Like there's got to be a lot more going on, a lot more nuance, a lot of stuff that we're not hearing about. So even if the things that we're hearing about in this book are exactly how they happen, I still feel like I might have like the bigger points, but still
There's
no idea
still
what else is
more
coming.
like character development
Oh
from the
yeah.
characters in Aelin's
So
part.
excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Dorian.
Dorian. Yeah. Yeah, because we heard that Dorian has been found and has like re-teamed up with Aelin and everybody. So we know that he's theoretically okay.
But how is he
Team of
like up
witches. Who
here
are
and
not
in
it?
here?
How is he?
What's he
Is
doing?
he indeed? I can't wait to find out. And I
Can you
think that
talk? Oh,
what
no. What were you gonna say? I was gonna change the topic.
oh, I was too, so I want to know what topic you were gonna change
That was
to.
what topic you were gonna change.
I was gonna go to I'm really interested to see like how our sets of characters are going to meet back up and like how we think things are going to go down. Because obviously like we're now going back in time and sort of reading Aelin's story that's happening at the same time as Tower of Dawn. So we've sort of got to think about okay, what do we think is going to happen in Empire of Storms? And then where are those characters going to be at to meet up with our characters that have just finished up Tower of Dawn?
I was gonna say something pretty similar. I was gonna say, can we just talk about how Kale read the note and immediately knew it was Aelin, and then we finally got the moment where he was like, "Aelin's the one that helped you," and she was like, "Why are you freaking out? Why are you freaking out?" And he was like, "You have to sit down for this."
Uh,
I
I
honestly teared up once he realized that it was Aelin's handwriting. And I was like, oh. And then just like accepting like that at the time she was just like not a nobody, but like she was willing to help Irene when she didn't have anything to help her get out of that situation. And she wanted to go to the Torre, I think. Something it's called. And he was just like, that's so Aelin.
yeah, I think that that scene was especially touching for me because of everything that Kale has gone through in this book, especially with his relationship with himself and with Aelin.
Hmm.
And like we know that the biggest reason why Irene was able to fully heal Kale was that, you know, she was able to let go of the hatred that she had kept inside of herself for the guilt that she harbored for her mom's death. And then Kale was able to forgive himself for all of the guilt that he's harbored for the wrongs that he's perpetrated, especially when it came to Aelin and how horribly he treated her when they were together and afterward. So I think that for him to have like forgiven her and forgiven himself and moved past that, and then to find out that Aelin, in a roundabout way, brought Irene to him and also like brought this bigger force to herself. Just like seeing that like very clear, like karmic circle, I think was just, it was really, really well done.
I feel like there were so many moments in this section where I was like,
Mm-hmm.
so cute. Like when he's like, save the note. There's someone that's gonna want to see it. And then like when Aelin was like, please save my people. And
When
then
Irene, yeah.
yeah, oops, I met Irene. That's
What
okay.
main female character are we discussing here?
But yeah, no, there were a lot of cute moments. Even like their dinner date, that was really
Oh,
cute. There's
their
so
whole
many.
relationship was amazing. Just really well
I
done. But I
love
mean,
that
like,
like she hated him too at first. Like,
yeah, but across the board, I mean, even with like Nesrin and Sartok and just like in general, I think, you know, like what we said is that this book ends on a really high note. And like, you know, that they're about to walk into some pretty awful shit, but you get this like last moment of hope and everything. And I know like it had me on a huge high, but at the same time, I'm going, I'm so nervous for all of these characters now.
I think that's why I haven't started Kingdom of that. Oh, not Kingdom. Storm Empire of
Storms.
Storm. Because like this book ends on such a high note. Like I'm like I just want to stay here for as long as I can.
But you get to, like, with these guys, like, nothing else is going to happen to them until Kingdom of Ash. So that's the thing that I was telling myself is that, like, we don't know really what happens to the other groups. So it's scary on that level. But
True.
at the same time, these guys are safe for the next book. It's, yeah.
Moments or like when everyone was like, no one can touch Duva. Like Duva's an exception.
I was shocked.
Oh, when we found out that she was the one that was possessed by the Valg.
Yes, yes.
Me too. I
I
did
thought
not see that
maybe it'd
coming.
be like someone else, like some other sibling, or even the mother, because like we've seen her maybe once throughout the book until the very end when Duva was saved and recovered.
I was so convinced it was the mom. Like she was such a good red herring because they don't let
Yeah,
us see her for so long, and just the idea that we just didn't see her because of her grief. Like everything they said was like actually what it was. I didn't expect that.
mhm.
I think it's such a good example of how we all have kind of overtrained ourselves to look for the unobvious answer. Like, Elena, I thought that your theories about the mom and everything were so good. Like, there was textual evidence. I really believed it. And then when it got to the end and it was Duva, I was like, wait, what? But I think that that kind of brings up something that I've been thinking a lot about, which is whether Duva's eyes are super dark brown, so no one really noticed that they were black, or what that is. And it really, they don't talk a lot about it in the book. So I'm wondering how we're going to get more information about that. But to me, we've now seen a very clear example of someone who was possessed by a Valg totally passing off as human to people who were looking for it. Like we kept talking about that. Like Hale's looking for it. Like he's gonna find the person if it's someone that he's seen and spent time with. So we kept thinking it had to be the mom or someone else that we hadn't seen yet. Cause it's like if they've got black eyes, he's gonna notice. But he didn't notice Duva at all. And they have many scenes together.
Even like the necklaces and the rings that like clearly says like, oh, it's, or not says, but like shows that it was like one of the obsidian.
Mhm.
And it was like in her engagement or wedding ring, but like
Wedding ring.
hidden underneath. Like we wouldn't have known that. Like there was no clue other
No,
than like a ring, but it's not the same that we've seen throughout the series.
I didn't suspect it for a single moment, and I thought that was really cool that the wedding
Yeah.
ring was sent as a gift from Parrington,
And how
Erewhon.
interesting. Wait, weren't they like two sisters were fighting over the ring, and it just so happened like Duva got it to it first? Like,
Yep.
what are the odds of that?
Yeah, well, I don't think that Erewhon cared who got infected. I think it was just because I think they were talking about how he sent it as a gift, like a wedding gift, and then
Yeah.
she just ended up using it as her wedding band. But yeah, Hassar tried to take it. Like, oh, dodge that bullet, girl.
Still not a super big fan of hers.
No,
Mm-mm.
no, it's I think it's nice, like you were kind of talking about this, that they said at the end that Duva was the exception to the rule of like basically needing to take each other down in order to maintain air supremacy. And I know we've talked about like what would the future look like, and we kind of know now that Sartok is going to be the heir. Like his father named him the heir, and there were kind of hints about maybe things would be different. And I think that they probably will be. Like I don't think that Sartok is going to like try to kill Duva's child or like make it so that Hassar and her partner like don't have children. Like I think that this we're really seeing like the start of a new wave of this culture.
Yeah, I was like shocked that he was heir. Even though like he was like on in the running for it. It was between like the three of them, I think. But it never really occurred to me that like he could actually be named heir. I think because like the time like I was still worried because of how the siblings in the past have fought to the death to be an heir. And it all like it was accepted in their culture and by their parents. So I didn't want that for him either. So if he wasn't an heir and he left to do his own thing in with the Rooks and be with Nesrin, like I'm totally for that. And they're so cute together and I love them.
Oh, I mean, like you guys know this was the outcome that I was rooting for, like him becoming the heir and Nesrin becoming his empress.
Yeah.
But it happened in the best way. Like the fact that he was given, like he was named heir when he was willing to walk away from it. Like that is what made his dad make the choice when he was like, all right, like it's either Nesrin or the heirdom. And he was like, peace out, mofo. And his dad was like, all right, you got it. I was just like, oh, perfect. So perfect.
Now you have to stay.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that Sartok will be a really good heir and like a really good change for the family and the kingdom in general.
Another shocker. I was convinced the dad was gonna die. I was so sure that he was
You
gonna die at some point
yeah.
in this book
Yeah.
and cause
Yeah.
like chaos.
Well, I think that, and I don't know if I like misunderstood this from the beginning of the book, but I was under the impression that the current Coggin had to die in order for the new heir to be named. Like, I just thought that they sort of like put their name in a box and then on the day of their death, like the new heir was announced. So I assumed we were going to learn that Sartok was the new heir at the end of this book and that meant that Coggin had to die, but I guess we can have both.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact details.
I think I interpreted it as like he could like name an heir, but also like you have a secret one just in case like they change it. Like the box is the final thing. But I don't think like the heir can become the new Coggin until the Coggin dies.
Yeah,
Is
I
how I
think he's just the
interpreted it.
heir
Mm,
until he takes control.
that makes sense.
I
Um,
feel really bad for Duva. Like I feel like she's been possessed for her entire marriage and like was forced to kill her sister. In that time she got pregnant, which is kind of icky because she didn't like her husband loves her, but she never really got a chance to know her husband. And like I just feel like she's unpossessed and like has to completely like evaluate what's going on and there's just a lot for her that she's gonna have to come to terms with. And I don't know how much of her we're gonna see now that like most of her siblings and Kaelin and everyone is going to Terrason and Adarlan.
yeah, my guess would be that we're probably not going to see any more of her, unless in Kingdom of Ash, like there's people go back to that land.
Oh my god, there's gonna be a royal wedding scene. The final chapters are gonna be the iconic royal wedding scene.
royal wedding.
Do
The
we know where?
costume.
Do we know if Cation went with them too?
Caution did. Yeah. I
Caution?
think they were saying that he was coming after. He was like rallying the foot forces to go.
Right.
But Nesrin and Sartok are coming with the Rooks. They're like flying overhead on the boats
And
as they're
Hassar is
going.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't. What do you guys think about him? Like now? Like I didn't like
Caution.
him at first, and now I'm kind of like turning the tides now that we
Yeah,
finished Tower
I
Dawn.
feel bad for being so suspicious of him. It seems like he does, like he's trying his best.
I don't think you need to be that hard on yourself, Elena, because I think that Caution did a lot of like creepy, pushy things over the course of this book that were wrong and gross. So I think it could have gone a different way. I fully trust him now because I think that his apology to Irene at the end was very heartfelt. And I can understand where he's coming from, right? Like he was really good friends with her. He fell in love with her and it was hard for him to deal with when she didn't want to be with him. So I get that that is where his actions were coming from and I
Hmm.
forgive him for the apology. And Irene forgives him, so I trust her. And it seems like he just wants to be friends. So
Yeah. And he really did care about the youngest sister. Like he did
yes.
want Chaos to look into it.
Mhm. Yeah, he seems like a good guy.
Yeah. And his
Also, I would
suspicions
watch my back.
were right too, that like it really was a death or murder. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
a suicide like they thought it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope that we're going to get more of all of them in what happens in Kingdom of Ash. Like, I hope that they're present characters. And if that is the case, Kassar, I would be watching. Like, I would be cautious of. But Caution, I would trust.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Um, so as far as like characters meeting back up after this, I know I'm really interested to see Aelin and Irene meet up, of course, and I think that that will probably be like a pretty positive meeting, reunion. They've already met each other. Um, I think like having Kaal and Aelin have a discussion is probably something that needs to happen.
I want to see them hug.
Oh,
That'd be
that'd
really
be really
cute.
cute.
That would be super cute.
Like you taught me self-defense, so I taught my friends self-defense.
Yeah.
You're always on my mind.
Wait, did you mean Irene and Aelin
Yeah.
hugging? Oh,
Irene.
I thought you meant Aelin and Kaal, and I was like, that would actually be really adorable.
Oh, really? Well, if it was like a group hug with Kaal, Dorian, and Aelin, I would like to see that.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, the OG3. Yeah. I think the other like twosome that I'm interested to see meet and find out like how that works out is Lysandra and Falcon, who we
Yeah.
know are uncle and niece now.
I was like, I
Yeah.
had a feeling they were related somehow.
Yeah.
So I'm like so glad it came full circle, and I'm just like, we need him to live so that they could have a reunion.
That's
Oh,
why I was so certain there was definitely a cliffhanger at some point in that scene because we find out that Falcon is her uncle, like, and has been looking for her. And then for some reason, I was like, why did I stop reading? Like, why wouldn't I have kept reading? Because I remember there being a very clear pause.
you had to go to bed that night. It was 2 a.m. You had to
Yeah.
close the book, move
It
on.
was an intense scene.
It was honestly, I did not think he was going to make it out of that alive. I can't say that I was crying. I was definitely like, oh my god, this is awful. Like there were present tears, but that was it. Just as he was sort of like explaining to Nezrin, like, okay, I'm gonna run in there and sacrifice myself, but like you got to find my niece. And I was like, no, I know her.
And Nezrin didn't
cried.
even get to like say anything about it either because like things were like happening so fast. I don't think I teared up for Falcon. I'm just more of like bummed if like he passed and never got to see Lysandra, who grew up not having any real family. And this is
Yeah.
a family member that has been looking for her this whole time.
Yeah.
I did tear up about Sartak though in that scene.
Oh, that one, there were actual tears.
Yeah, because like the last thing he says, like, are you kidding me?
I didn't. I kept hoping that he wasn't dead, but there was a part of me that realized that he definitely could be, and I was just like, if this is how we end this with you telling her that you love her and then getting like snatched up by a spider, like I was just like, oh my god.
We
But our
circle back
girl,
for
Elena needs to question me on how I got more upset about Falcon than I did about other characters she doesn't agree with.
do. That's 100% what I'm stuck on.
So I will explain it because we can't talk about some of the characters that I have been less upset about dying than you have been. I will say that I was upset, I think, more for Lysandra because I love Lysandra and like I like seeing that potential connection disappear for her. I was just like, no, no, no. Like you need to meet her and like have her know that there's someone in this world that knows what she's going through. Because that's a big thing for her, right? Is like she's been entirely shunned her whole life for her shifter powers. And just to have someone that she can know has wanted her whole life and like she can share that with. I was like, no, don't take that away from her.
yeah,
Also, because he's been looking for her, and he's like, I haven't been able to find her, but it's because she's been trapped in the wrong body for so long. Like, he could have walked right by her and wouldn't have known.
Yep. Yeah, it's so it was sad for me on that end of the spectrum. I don't really care about Falcon as a character at this point. I think that he is a good person. I fully trust him, and I'm excited to see more of him, but I wasn't sad about losing him, more like what his character could be.
Yeah. I
A
feel like
little
he's more
upset.
of like more for like character development for another character and not
Mhm.
just like him as an individual.
Yeah.
Like how cool would it be if him and Lysandra reunite and she goes tracks down that spider and like breaks the curse for him? Like that would be really cool. And then she could help him do all the shifting stuff because his shifting isn't as powerful as hers.
Oh.
Sibling bonding,
Yeah.
like how cute would that be?
Yeah. It's so funny because I figured he was her brother, and I don't know why Uncle never occurred to me. I was just like, duh, like why didn't I think of that?
Sorry, not sibling bonding, but like familial
Familial
bonding.
bonding.
Like, age-wise, it's still a little weird. Like, I don't think I would have thought of Uncle Niece because he's definitely younger than her dad, like significantly younger than her dad would have had to have
Yeah.
been.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why it was like he was slightly too old for it to make sense for him to be her brother, but I was like, I don't know what the other option is, but I don't know why Uncle never occurred to me.
It's only like maybe like a 4-year difference, I think, right?
Well,
Because
so when he met
she's
Aelin, he
early
was
20s.
yeah.
Yeah. And
I
now
think he was
he's supposed to be 28, I think.
mhm.
Or yeah. So that's not
I
that
think he's like
big of
about
a
10 years older than she is.
oh, maybe I did the math wrong.
Well, I
It's
think
possible.
if she's in her early 20s, then he's supposed to be in his like early 30s, I think, because if he met
No, he's supposed to
Aelin
be in his late 20s.
Yeah, that's
So
what I
now,
that
thought too.
so 20 years he gave up, he would be in his 40s. Like he looks like he's in his
oh,
40s.
okay. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's a weird number
Did
of
we
years.
ever find out what happens to their dad? Is their dad still like MIA? Or is he supposedly dead? Like, did Falcon ever say?
MIA.
More missing dads. Just
Well,
missing dads.
her dad is missing, like his brother, or it's no,
Oh, her
his
dad is Falcon's
yeah,
brother.
her dad is Falcon's brother. Do we know if he's dead or alive? Because he was just looking for his niece, and I think she was the only one left.
I think
Oh,
he
I think
said
he
that
did. I think he did die.
did he die?
Yeah, because he told his brother about that he had a thing with this woman. They had a child together, and he was like on his deathbed, I think, and he just wanted his brother to know. And so his brother has been looking for her this whole time.
That detail went right out of my brain. I was like, I don't care about this guy.
It's weird the details that each of us pick up and remember.
That's why we're doing this as a team, guys. It's so we can all remember different things and then
Yeah,
put it together. And please fact check us at all times. Let us know. Is he dead?
please. Sometimes we're wrong.
Yeah,
There's
a
too
lot
much
of
stuff in
times.
these books.
A lot.
That's a lot of
I
the
literally think
time.
I said Duva's name wrong earlier, and then I was like, I definitely said Duva's name wrong.
Oops. Poor Duva. Oh goodness. But yeah, I think those are like the big character meetups that I'm excited for at the beginning of Kingdom of Ash whenever we get to that one.
Ooh, another character meetup would be really fun is like Nesrin and the Rook. But by the way, she got her own Rook, and that was really exciting. But I wish there was a little more detail about that. It was just like a one sentence brief summary about like how it happened. But I want like more connection between her and her Rook. But to go back to like Nidas, it'd be really cool if like the Rooks met up with the Wyverns.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, was best friends with Abraxas.
Yeah.
I I really liked that her family did make it down. Like her family, like
Yes,
that was a cute
I
reunion
love
to end the
that.
book with.
Yeah, I think it's really clear that like Nezran and Sartok are planning on being together and then spending their lives here. So I was really glad when she was able to get the rest of her family there. And like, you know, we kept saying that they probably weren't going to like hang back while this war was going on. So like clearly they're going to go help, but I think their trajectory is like, you know, when they both live, knock on wood, they're going to go back, right guys? Right?
I am nervous. It feels like we have a big cast of characters and a lot of potential for death.
So much death potential, and my stomach is a knot and will be until we finish Kingdom of Ash. Yep. But on a happier note, like Sartok's almost proposal was really cute and I liked it.
That whole chapter was so good for Nesrin. I loved it. I was like, it can't get any better than this. And it does.
I think we read this before, Brooke. Like, I think Jamie and I read it, and we just kept being like, Brooke, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I think you guys were, and I quote, chapter 66 is perfect. And I was like, I can't wait to get there. And then when I got there, I was like, it is perfect.
And then you reach to the end, it's like, no, the whole book is perfect.
It was so perfect. And I mean, like you said, Elena, like, or Jane, I forget which one of you was complaining about wanting more with the Rook, which I did too. You know, you get like the quick, like, you know, flashback to like, I went and made friends with the Rook and we flew off. And I was like, okay, great. But like, I would have liked to see that scene in real life. And then all of a sudden we're on a boat and Irene and Kale are like married as fuck. And I'm like, I would have liked to have seen that scene.
I need some real weddings. Like play by play.
I mean, we got it a little bit. This is one of the things that I have found, like if I have to be critical of anything with SJM, it's that he keeps not giving us the wedding scenes.
I just want one wedding then.
And I mean, like, it was really cute, like going back and seeing the cute proposal and then like getting like the glimpses of the wedding. It was very, very sweet. And just like them being on the boat and being so happy to be married and like the whole like Lady Westfall. And she's like, you don't even like being called Lord Westfall. And he's like, well, I like calling you it. I was just like, oh my God, you're so disgustingly cute.
What did you guys think about their bond?
Loved it. It's okay if you didn't, Elena. Let's discuss.
I honestly, I love how it turned out. Like neither one of them died, and they're like this is how they're connected. So like if she uses too much about her healing powers, then he loses his ability to walk. It's like a balance, and I really like that. And this is like something that we haven't seen before, like this type of bonding.
This is very different. And I will say, Elena, do you want to kick off why you don't like it?
Not like it. Like I thought it was cute, and I'm glad Kale's at a point where he can be okay with not being able to walk because it means that Irene's using her magic to heal people. And like I'm a little bit worried about it what it means in Kingdom of Ash just because Kale's bad about putting himself into danger, and now like I guess it gives him something to live for, like because he would never want to do anything that puts Irene in harm's way. So like I see that. It just feels like we've spent this entire book trying to make him walk again. And then as soon as he's able to walk, it's like, surprise, you're injured and can't walk again.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that though.
I loved it. And I think there were moments, and maybe it was mostly me and Jamie, that, you know, we were saying that we liked that there was progress being made and like that she was healing him, like obviously liked that progression. But at the same time, I think one or both of us said that, you know, we kind of wanted him to be okay with not being able to walk, that it was kind of almost like a bummer that at the end he was just going to be like fully fit. And, you know, so I think it was a great mix of like her finding the cure, which is going to have much larger implications across the Valg plotline. But at the same time, like Kale had come to peace with not being able to walk and realizing that that is not his whole personality.
I think it also shows like great character growth that he's willing to sacrifice not being fully healed in order so that Irene can be with him and be alive.
Yeah. Well, and the reason that they were in that situation is that in the throne room, like Kaol puts himself in between Irene and
Yeah.
the magic blast from Valgaduva. So he sacrifices himself to save her and like should have died. And then she sacrifices herself, like a big part of herself to save him.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it, and I see why it was included because, I mean, it is fantasy, so you just suspend part of your disbelief, belief. But like realistically, if someone like has that kind of injury, the odds of them getting better, like Kale did originally, seems unlikely. So I do think it makes a stronger point that he isn't at a point where he's fully healed. Um, I just a little bit plot device-y.
You don't like the
I just
semi-mating bond that has been created for them?
I don't know. Don't say that too loud in front of Jamie.
Sorry, I meant to put my
It's
hand up. You
no,
don't like
I
the
feel like
semi-mating bond that's been created for them?
it's totally different from a mating bond. It's not like but that's why I like it for Kaol and Irene. Like it's different and it's their thing.
Yeah.
Um and
What
like
I
Kaol has always been like not, I guess not always, but he's just been like kind of like selfish and like strict on himself and hard on himself that like him willing to do this is just like just shows like how far he's come, and this is
Yeah.
why it's so amazing.
Yep. Yeah, he's gonna
Yeah.
have to put Irene first and also realize that like her power is better than him being able to be on a battlefield. Like, and I know that's gonna be hard for him, but I think that it'll be even better like character progression for both of them.
and I think it's gonna like change up his entire perspective on like his relationship with Dorian. Because I feel like it's always been putting Dorian before everyone, and he can't do that. Like he can't throw himself in front of a bullet for Dorian because it would put Irene at risk.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which is kind of perfect for the Hand of the King, right? Who's not involved in the battle,
Right.
just a little bit behind the scenes.
Yeah. Kale is really, and like, I mean, he's already made so much progress, but this is like the last test where it's basically like, all right, you either are not selfish or you are, and it gets your wife killed. Like, those are your choices.
He's 100% going onto the battlefield. If Kale isn't a stubborn little
Yeah.
and
I'm
goes,
excited to see those scenes though. The scenes of like him still trying to physically contribute to the war, but then there being a moment where like Irene needs to jump in to like save somebody. He's like, "Don't worry, I got my chair. I'll go take a seat. Command from back here."
I'm glad he understands love too, and the difference of how he felt with
Yes.
Selena and Irene. Like with Irene, like this is love. This is how you're supposed to feel.
Yeah, and that like, we've known that for a while, but I hope that if people were still wondering why Aelin is with Rowan and not with Kaol, that like this showed them why this is love. Like sacrificing and like truly loving someone for everything about them is the whole point.
Mhm. I think I'm excited to go back to Empire Storms and seeing your favorite couple,
Yes, I am.
seeing what they're up to.
Have I maybe read the first few chapters? Yes, I have.
And you didn't send me your thoughts.
No, I didn't.
I better get like a huge text.
You might. You might. I wanted to make sure that we had this conversation before I stirred any pots. Um,
That's fair.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I thought that this book was really great, especially like I thought that it took romance to like another level. Like, and I know it's been in all of the books so far, but like seeing both of these relationships like happen side by side was really special.
Can I just say, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, I think Brookie said this too, like the love scene did not feel like YA.
Not at all. Warning for anyone who, I mean, if you didn't read along and you're somehow watching this for whatever reason, if you're strictly YA romance only, don't read this one. This is gets spicy.
This was a treat though, because like I wasn't expecting that. So I was like, ooh.
Did not fade to black.
Yeah, there was no fade to black.
No.
I mean, I've read scenes with more description in it, but still, I was like, I'm sorry, is Throne of Glass?
So proud of Kale in that moment for not even like thinking about the fact like I think he had one thought where he was like, I can't do the positions I normally do. But other than that, he was like,
The hand movements are what made that for me.
I think I would have liked if we saw some action between Nesrin and Sartak. Now that we have that.
They kissed.
They kissed. I think that.
yeah, but like it's not like there was a secret hookup scene
No.
that we
No, I
missed.
don't think
Okay.
so. That we
No.
missed. I'd be really disappointed if we missed.
Like up in the air.
Unless it's a deleted scene that hasn't been published yet, I would have known.
Can we get one of those for any of our
that'd
couples?
be great. See, I loved Nesrin and Sartak's relationship as is. Like, I think that it was like it felt totally normal, like with everything that they were going through, and especially like
So
you know,
mature.
and their relationship with each other. Obviously, like she's this like lowborn but now raised to like this place of power person from Adelon versus he's like potentially going to be the next king of the place that he's at. So I understand that it wasn't immediately like want to make out. It was just like, yeah, we're gonna fall in love slowly and it's gonna be great. But
Yeah, I wonder how that's because he's also like leader of the Rooks, right? No, I might be like what does that mean to be an heir and also like leader, semi-leader of
I think he's like the unofficial leader of the Rooks per the Cognate. But they're like the leaders of the different Aries. What's up, Elena?
Can we talk about my other favorite character? My other favorite couple?
Yes.
Borte and whatever the heck his name is. And what is going on?
I think it's Yaren.
I need to know what's going on with this couple.
What is going on?
We got some like enemies to lovers trope going on here. Like I need some details.
They had like a secret conversation and then came out engaged.
Is that his name? Is it Yaren?
Yeah.
No idea what his name is. If I'm being honest.
Yaren.
I don't remember.
This is, I have to say,
they came to rescue Nesrin and Falcon and Sartak.
Yeah. And they both keep putting off their wedding. So like why were they engaged in the first place? What was the secret conversation? I think that happened in this section. Maybe it happened in the last section, but I'm still stuck on it.
It all happened in here. This is the one and only like forced engagement that I have seen in the SJM universe that I am 100% okay with. And at first I was like, I don't like this. Like, you shouldn't be engaged to someone you don't love. And then like, as we saw more scenes with them, I was like, oh, you guys dig each other hard. Stop playing hard to get.
But like, why? What was that conversation?
We don't know.
Like,
I don't know.
There was that like competition they always have, and like she would always beat him by a little bit, and then one year he just didn't participate, and then they got engaged.
Yeah, I have like a little bit high hopes with this couple, and it kind of brought me back to Ansel and that other guy in the Assassin's Blade, where we thought there was like a love connection between this couple, but really it was one-sided, and then she ended up betraying him, and we were just like, wait, what? So I hope Borte and Yaren isn't like that.
Yeah, I think that they have the potential to be super cute and like have a lot of really cute scenes where they're both trying really hard to hate each other, but they don't hate each other at all.
Do you have a theory over like why they got engaged in the first place? Like that's what I've been struggling with, and I haven't been able to wrap my head around it. And I feel like you always have theories.
I
Well, just
don't,
wasn't it just to combined or bring strength to the Rukins, like the groups? Wasn't that part of
yeah,
it?
I don't remember. I'm looking through my notes and I don't remember. I definitely didn't take notes on that specifically. So I don't remember the exact, like, what was said about the situation, but I wasn't questioning it. And I don't know if it's because it just didn't bother me or because they like had a reason that I just accepted. We're gonna have to look back at that and check before we see them again. But I'm guessing they really enjoyed competing against each other and have probably, I'm guessing, have hooked up at some point, is my guess.
Hope so.
So
There's some tension there.
there is some definite tension there, which I love. But like, he's clearly a good guy. Like after everything that he did to help out, I think that we're going to see a lot more of them in Kingdom of Ash and get a better idea of what makes them tick and if they work together.
And is it real? Like, is
Yeah.
there like a real love connection between them two? Because Borte just like refuses to share anything about their relationship.
Yeah.
So, because it's different seeing it from one side, like an outsider, but then to go into their mind and their point of view to see like what they truly feel. Like again, like this brings me back to Ansel and
Yeah, because like reading about Ansel betraying and killing that guy, like even though I wasn't like super invested in them, it was still hurtful. It's like, come on, dude.
yeah, like
Really?
she was just using that guy to get him to train with her and stuff, I think. Which I mean, like, which is fine. It's just kind of sad that she had to do that or felt that she had to do it.
Yeah.
Um, but
I'm so excited to see Ansel I in one of these next two books. Like she has to come back
mhm.
up.
She
Yeah,
has
And I'm
to.
really
for
pumped.
sure.
Rolfus
And
was already mentioned. Like, come on. I think that was
Yeah,
just like, so if Rolfus for sure, then there's got to be some more characters
right.
that
We're
we
gonna meet Rolf in Pirates Bay. We're gonna meet Ansel in the Wastes.
wherever.
We're gonna find the assassin's son and Sam in the Red Desert. Like we're gonna get the whole team
we
back
got
together. It's gonna
we
be
got
great. Great episode
reunited.
over. Okay.
I was gonna mention we got reunited with the mysterious merchant who turned out to be Falcon this whole time. Like
Falcon.
that was so exciting.
Yeah, actually, like in terms of side characters from Assassin's Blade, I think the only people that we're missing are Ansel and the assassin's son and and Sam.
And Rolf, we haven't physically
Mhm.
seen him yet.
Yeah, but yeah, I think he's a definite because we know that she was in Pirates Bay. Like I don't think they would have made that up enough. There's got to be something going on there.
So just to remind you guys where we left off in Queen of Shadows, Aelin and her company were heading towards Terrasen. So we don't even know
Harrison.
if she actually made it there, but somehow she went to Skulls Bay. So there's a gap there. So
Perhaps did she
we
make
can
it
figure
there in the first 6 chapters of Storm Empire of Storms?
I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't started the next book. Did I say that out loud in an episode not about a book that we're
Um,
currently talking about?
I think the only thing we haven't really talked about is, did we talk about Maeve being Val's? Like, is that something we discussed?
we did not talk about that.
We're like, guys, we're here for the romance, but the fantasy's also great. I
We're
guess
here
we have
for
to
the
talk about the fact.
relationships.
Yes.
We just want to keep. I feel like every time I read one of these fantasy books, I'm like, who can I pair up with who and who?
Well, okay, so it was like at the beginning of this book. Was I the only one that was pretty sure Nezrin and Kale weren't going to be together? Or were you guys also pretty sure that they weren't going to be together?
Anyone
I
was super
knew they weren't
pro
going to be together.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, like, the minute that we saw Sartak and he made even the smallest amount of eyes at Nezrin, I was like, I'm done. Done. I pick him. He's immediately better. And then the
Yeah.
minute that we like re-met Irene, which we were all really hoping was going to happen, I was like, done. I found somebody that will fix Kaal because no one else can.
The moment they hated each other, the moment they looked at each other with like daggers, it was
It was
Um,
meant to be.
but yeah, okay. So we've talked, I think, as much as we possibly can before you guys get bored of us about the relationships. But I think that the other really cool part of this book was that it was like a really fun, creepy mystery. And we learned two very big things about the overall Valg plotline, which will hopefully help out Aelin's fight against them, and really like the whole world's fight against them because they're kind of trying to take over the world. But we've learned now that at least Irene has the ability to heal Valk possession, since it's more like a virus than anything. I think I'm still questioning if other healers might have the ability as well, but there's a whole
Yeah.
ton of them coming with them, so hopefully we'll find out soon.
Yeah, I was
Um,
so I was really, like, interested because like, the way that Irene described the Valg in Kale was that it was a
mhm,
parasite. And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And, with parasites, they can be removed, so
yeah,
it's very
yeah,
promising.
yeah. And we learned that that's like the biggest reason why a lot of the healers were killed back when magic was taken away, was because the Valg knew that healers, at least like some healers, had the ability to kill them when they were inside other people. Um, and then the other big thing we learned is that Maeve is apparently a Valg princess, queen,
Valg
escaped
queen.
from Valgland, which I have to admit, I read slowly and I wanted to understand and I didn't entirely. So I don't know if you guys like got it more, but I was like, okay,
They
she was
didn't.
engaged to one of them but didn't want to be, so she ran away but is now fighting for them.
Didn't she like make them fight over her? Weren't they like all into her? And then she ended up marrying one of them, and then she got tired of him and was like, peace.
Is it the same guy where, um, like Rowan and Aelin and Heir of Fire, they found artifacts, like, from this guy, and they find out that, like, this guy and May used to be lovers. Is that the same guy?
So it's not the same guy, I don't think. But I think that's why they had the ring that was like the anti-Valg ring, was to keep away the like other Valg kings from coming to get her.
The ring, like, why does Maeve want the ring? Doesn't it make you immune to Valid powers? I don't understand why she wants, and I think they explained it, but maybe I don't remember.
I think wasn't it like Maeve is against the Val Kings, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So
That's the
maybe
overall
that's
sense that I got.
why, yeah, maybe that's why she wants the ring
Yeah.
because it's like, I don't know. I was really surprised about the Val Queen thing.
Right, because it seems like she's hiding out in this world to stay away from them. And I think that's where the ring comes in, because I think it will like protect her from them. But why is she trying to get the three word keys? Like, is she trying to get back home? It
Doesn't seem like
I
she
think
wants to go back home. She's been here for a while.
right.
I think the three word keys, like she knows, are the way that they can get back in. So she wants to have them, and then she can create her own portals for
Mm,
reasons. Um, but I think that's like the three word keys. Once and they're like one for each king, and that's how they like created a portal to try and like portals,
yeah.
and not just into this world, into like different worlds to try and like one they were trying to find her.
Yep.
And then I just
Yeah.
think it would make her too proud. Like she would use it for not good. Is
Yeah.
what it-
Yeah, I think that's definitely clear that like Maeve is not to be trusted. We know now that she's Valg. She's not Fae. She's been around so long that people kind of forgot about it.
We talk about
Elena?
how wild it was that she changed their memory.
Remind me what happened with that.
She like so there were like two elf like Fae queens that were really powerful, and then she went up to them like when she like joined the world and like broke into their minds and forced them to think that she was their sister and had been there the whole time, and then
Oh,
changed
wow. Yeah,
everyone
that's right.
else's.
Yeah,
That's
Mab
crazy.
and the other one.
Yeah.
Maba? Or
That now it makes sense how she has her own set of healers too in Wendelin to protect against the Val.
Right. So she knows that the healers have the ability or have the potential to have the ability to heal the Valg possession. Uh,
So, like, when the kings come over, they possess people, but she's not possessing people, she's just herself.
well, that's kind of a lot of where I'm confused is like, what are Maeve's motives? Because if we believe what Hassar has said, she fights Aelin and like clearly hates Aelin and like wants the worst for her. But it's like, why don't you guys work together? I'm confused.
Guess we'll find out.
I don't know.
Do you guys also remember when Nazrin and Sartak went into the temples or something? I think that's what they were, and they found like information about like the Fae history. Do you guys
Mhm.
remember what it was? Or was it even
Do
important to the story? I have no
you,
idea.
do you know, was this an open-ended question, or were you trying to like get us somewhere?
I honestly don't remember.
I don't I don't remember them
And I don't
finding
know if it
anything.
and I don't know if it was like key information for us for the story. Because it
I
was
don't think
history about
so.
Fays and how the Fays had used to live in this continent or something, and then they got wiped out.
I think that the implication was just the Fays came here and brought healing magic because they were
Oh,
trying to
okay.
escape from
Maybe that's
Dornell.
what.
And I think the big
Yeah.
thing that they were realizing is that like the spiders are Valg and that there are still things in the world that are like Valg created and from the Valg lands that
Mm.
will likely join with the new Valg presence to uh, take over the world.
How
Yeah,
how
and
funny was that scene when Falcon shifted as like a sister spider to get that the other spider away from Bartok? Like I thought that was so hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, it was really good thinking. The
Yes,
funniest
it
part is
was.
when they like airlifted his almost dead corpse back to the area and no one would touch him. I was like, he's not a real spider, guys. Someone help, he's dying.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think that was one of the things that I really liked most about this book is that it had like a really cool like creepy mystery vibe to it. It was almost like a romance thriller more than like a fantasy romance, which I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah. Very entertaining. And a
Yeah.
lot of cute moments.
Yeah.
so much cuter than I thought it was gonna be. Like, imagine if we had read this book and it was Nezrin and Kale the whole time. Like, that was the setup.
I don't like that at all. I don't want to
Me
do that.
too.
No. I want to know now if there are people that are upset about Kale and Nezra not being together.
I hope not.
I hope not. Yeah.
If that's your
Yeah.
opinion, I'm sorry, but that's so not an opinion.
Yeah. You're just wrong. Like that's not an opinion. You're just incorrect. Like reread the book. You're incorrect.
Yeah. Like Kael didn't treat Nezrin well at all.
No.
And she deserves so much better.
Yeah.
Deserves, she deserves an heir. King.
Yeah. Yeah. But on the other hand, like, I know that Kale had a lot of like personal issues with how the whole thing with Nezrin and Irene went down, which I think says a lot about his character. But at the same time, I think it was like him and Nezrin both kind of realizing that they were never really meant to be together simultaneously.
Mhm.
So I don't really fault him for how everything went down either. It was such a good book. And
Such
I'm
a
sad it's
good.
over.
You know.
I
I
never
want
thought I'd
more
feel
of
that
their
way.
world. Yeah.
Was there anything else that we totally forgot to talk about? Like almost the entire fantasy plotline?
No, the only part of the fantasy plotline that I can think of is that Duba, like the Valg inside her, was a princess, which is supposedly notable, but I don't really understand how, so I don't think we need to discuss it. Just an asterisk.
Yeah, I was also confused by the amount of gravitas that was given. I was like, is it such a big deal that there can be two genders? Like, is that, or I wasn't sure if we were missing something, but I was like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, like, well, duh. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh my God, they come in girl? Like, yeah.
Like, it wasn't really that big of a reveal.
Right, right.
The big reveal was that it was Duma.
Yeah, I think we basically touched on everything that we wanted to talk about.
Let's start Empire of Storms if we
Oh,
haven't already. But it's gonna be so long until we talk about it, and I know that's my fault, but I'm still.
it's
Well,
okay.
join us next time for
Yeah. Hopefully, if you guys
Empire
are
Storm.
if you're enjoying your trip through Throne of Glass with us, we're gonna do Empire of Storms next. So whether you read them in the correct order, you're reading them side by side, or you're doing our weird out of order reading, come join us for Empire of Storms next. Thanks, guys.
Bye.